the American flag. You know, just hearing those words or seeing that design, it probably brings up a lot for you.
Right.
For so many, it's this really powerful symbol. Unity, pride, freedom.
Sacrifice, history.
Exactly. But for others, maybe it's different. A point of contention, maybe protest, or even, a symbol of things they oppose.
It carries a lot of weight, however you see it.
It really does. It's just so woven into, well, our national identity. So today we're taking a deep dive into something specific and quite recent related to the flag. It's an executive order from the White House dated August 25th, 2025. And the title is pretty direct: Prosecuting Burning of the American Flag. Our mission here is simple. We want to just break down what this order actually says. What's its stated purpose? What actions does it outline?
Right, cut through the noise.
Exactly. So you can get a clear handle on what it means, maybe for civic life, maybe even closer to home. And just to be clear, our only source for this deep dive is the official text of the executive order itself, straight from the White House.
No outside commentary, just the document.
Precisely. So let's dive in. The order starts by really emphasizing the flag's symbolic importance. Why start there? What's the thinking behind that strong opening?
Well, it's quite strategic, isn't it? Right off the bat, it frames the flag not just as a symbol, but almost as something sacred.
Sacred.
That's the word it uses, the most sacred and cherished symbol of the United States of America. It talks about freedom, identity, strength. This isn't just, poetic language. It sets a very specific tone.
Okay.
And then it connects that sacredness to sacrifice. It mentions the many thousands of American patriots who fought, bled, and died for the flag. It's really trying to evoke reverence. And it also highlights the flag as a unifier, something that should unite and represent all Americans. So it's building this foundation of deep respect and national importance before getting into the specifics.
And it definitely doesn't stop at praising the flag. It then uses some incredibly strong words to describe desecration. Doesn't really hold back, does it?
No, it really doesn't. The language there is quite forceful. It calls flag desecration uniquely offensive and provocative.
Uniquely offensive. Wow.
Yeah, and it goes further. It frames it as a statement of contempt, hostility, and violence against our nation. Basically saying it's like attacking the very union that protects our rights.
So more than just disrespect.
Much more, according to this order. It also explicitly says burning the flag may incite violence and riot. And then there's this other layer.
Oh.
It claims flag burning is used by groups of foreign nationals as a calculated act to intimidate and threaten violence against Americans because of their nationality. That part becomes pretty significant later.
Okay, I see. Now, a lot of us probably remember, maybe from civics class, something about flag burning and the First Amendment. There was that big Supreme Court case, right? Texas v. Johnson.
That's the one.
So if the Supreme Court said flag burning is protected speech, how does this executive order even approach this? Isn't it a direct contradiction?
That's the million-dollar question, and it gets to the heart of the order's legal strategy. It doesn't try to just ignore or overturn Texas v. Johnson. It actually mentions it.
It does.
Yes, it cites the case. But then it immediately pivots. It says, and this is key, that the court has never held that American flag desecration conducted in a manner that is likely to incite imminent lawless action, or that is an action amounting to fighting words, is constitutionally protected.
Okay, incite imminent lawless action and fighting words. Can you break those down for us? What do those terms actually mean in this context?
Sure. Incite imminent lawless action basically means speech that's directed at producing immediate illegal activity and is likely to actually produce it. Like yelling, "Let's go smash those windows right now," to an angry crowd.
Got it. Immediate action.
Right. And fighting words are more about direct personal insults, things said face to face that are so offensive they're likely to provoke an immediate violent reaction from the person they're aimed at.
Okay, so the order is saying Texas v. Johnson didn't protect flag burning in those specific situations.
Exactly. That's the legal distinction it's banking on. It's trying to carve out these exceptions where flag desecration might not be protected speech because of the way it's done or the immediate impact it has. It's focusing on the conduct around the burning, not just the symbolic act itself.
That's a really crucial distinction. So, given this framing the flag's sanctity, the focus on these exceptions, what's the administration's stated goal here? What are they actually trying to achieve?
The stated goal is pretty clear. To act to restore respect and sanctity to the American flag and prosecute those who incite violence or otherwise violate our laws while desecrating this symbol to the fullest extent permissible under any available authority.
So not necessarily a flat ban, but focusing on prosecution when other laws are broken alongside the desecration.
That seems to be the main thrust. It's about using existing legal tools and maybe trying to clarify or expand those exceptions we talked about to address actions they see as harmful, rather than trying to ban the symbolic act outright, which they know faces constitutional hurdles. It's tactical.
Okay, that helps clarify the why. Now let's really unpack the how. What are the actual concrete steps this order lays out? How is this supposed to work in practice?
Right, moving from purpose to action, Section 2 gets into the mechanics. The first big piece, Section 2A, involves the Attorney General.
Okay, what's the AG directed to do?
The order tells the Attorney General to make enforcing existing laws a priority when those laws are broken during acts of flag desecration.
Existing laws.
Yes, existing criminal and civil laws. But here's the important qualifier again. It applies when these acts violate applicable content-neutral laws while causing harm unrelated to expression, consistent with the First Amendment.
Content-neutral laws, harm unrelated to expression. Can you give us some real-world examples? What might that actually look like for someone, say, witnessing a protest?
Absolutely. Think of it like this. A content-neutral law applies regardless of the message, like a law against starting fires in a public park without a permit. It doesn't matter why you start the fire, whether it's a barbecue or burning a flag, the law applies equally.
Okay, so it's not about the message.
Exactly. And harm unrelated to expression refers to illegal actions that aren't part of the protected symbolic speech itself. The order gives examples.
Like what?
Things like violent crimes, hate crimes, illegal discrimination, crimes against property and the peace.
Yeah.
So if someone burns a flag but also punches someone or smashes a window or sets fire to something other than the flag in a dangerous way.
Those associated actions.
Precisely. Those are the violations the order directs the AG to prioritize prosecuting under existing laws. It's about illegal conduct that might happen alongside the flag burning, not necessarily the burning itself if it's deemed protected speech.
That makes sense. It's drawing a line between the symbol and other potential crimes. Now, what if it's a local law that's broken, like a city rule about fires or maybe disturbing the peace? Does the federal government step in?
Section 2B covers that. It sets up a referral system.
Yeah.
If a federal agency sees flag desecration that might violate a state or local law, like those open burning rules or maybe vandalism laws, they're directed to refer the matter to the right state or local authorities. So the feds aren't taking over local enforcement, but they are supposed to help local police or prosecutors by pointing out potential violations of their laws.
Okay, so it encourages cooperation between federal and local levels.
Seems like it. Making sure those local rules are also considered.
Now, you mentioned the Attorney General prioritizing existing laws, but Section 2C sounds like it goes further. It talks about vigorous prosecution and clarifying the law. What does that mean?
Right. This part suggests a more proactive legal strategy. It directs the AG not just to prosecute violations vigorously, but also says the AG may pursue litigation to clarify the scope of the First Amendment exceptions in this area.
Pursue litigation to clarify. So potentially bringing court cases.
That's what it implies. It suggests the administration might actively look for or bring cases that could test the boundaries of those exceptions. The incitement and fighting words loopholes we discussed.
So trying to get courts to maybe narrow the definition of protected flag burning.
Potentially, yes. Or at least get clearer rulings on where exactly the lines are drawn, especially when public order or safety concerns are involved. It signals an intent to actively shape the legal interpretation, not just react to clear violations of existing law.
Interesting. That's definitely a more forward-looking legal strategy. Now, Section 2, this seemed quite distinct earlier. It focuses specifically on foreign nationals, right? What does the order say about them?
Yes, this is a very specific and potentially impactful section dealing only with non-U.S. citizens. It gives significant authority to the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Authority to do what?
Based on existing federal law, and the order lists specific statutes, they could potentially deny visas, green cards, naturalization, or other immigration benefits.
For flag desecration.
For foreign nationals determined to have engaged in flag desecration under circumstances that permit these remedies according to those laws. It also mentions seeking removal or deportation in such cases.
Wow. So, for non-citizens, the act could have consequences far beyond criminal charges. It could affect their entire immigration status.
That's the clear implication. It links certain acts of flag desecration directly to potential very serious immigration repercussions, framing it as conduct possibly incompatible with residing in or becoming a citizen of the U.S., according to the specified laws.
That is a significant measure. Okay, beyond these specific actions, are there any general clauses or, fine print we should be aware of, things that limit the order or clarify its overall scope?
Yes, like most executive orders, it includes some standard but important boilerplate sections towards the end. Section 3 is a severability clause.
Severability.
Yeah, it basically means if a court strikes down one part of the order as invalid, the rest of it still stands. It's a way to protect the order from collapsing entirely if one piece is successfully challenged.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Section 4 has some general provisions. It clarifies that the order doesn't mess with any existing legal authority agencies already have. It also says implementation depends on being consistent with applicable law and having the money subject to the availability of appropriations.
Standard government stuff?
Pretty much.
Okay.
But there's one more crucial point in Section 4, especially for you listening.
What's that?
It states very clearly that this order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit enforceable by any party against the United States. Meaning you, as an individual, can't use this executive order itself as the basis to sue the government. It's an internal directive to federal agencies. It doesn't grant new legal rights to the public.
Got it. That's an important clarification. Okay, so let's try to sum this up for everyone. This executive order really elevates the American flag's symbolic status. Then it directs federal agencies to act against flag desecration, but mainly by focusing on enforcing other existing laws, things like assault, property damage, incitement that might happen during the act.
Right.
It also involves referring potential state and local violations to those authorities. Signals a potential push to legally clarify First Amendment limits through court cases, and imposes potentially severe immigration consequences for foreign nationals involved under specific legal conditions.
That captures it well. And what's really interesting strategically is how it tries to work within the existing legal framework shaped by Texas v. Johnson.
How so?
Instead of a head-on challenge to protected speech, it focuses intensely on the circumstances. Is there violence? Is there incitement to imminent lawlessness? Is property destroyed? Is the person a foreign national subject to specific immigration laws? It's trying to isolate the act from protected expression by linking it to other punishable conduct or specific statuses.
So it's less about the flag burning itself in isolation and more about everything happening around it.
Exactly. It's a nuanced approach, trying to find leverage points within the boundaries set by the Supreme Court.
So thinking about this for you, the listener, maybe you're working, maybe raising a family, just living your life. What's the takeaway here? This order really seems to highlight that ongoing tension, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The tension between, on one hand, the deep respect and strong emotions many people associate with national symbols like the flag.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the constitutional protection for freedom of expression,
Yeah.
even for views or actions that many might find deeply offensive.
And this order represents the current administration drawing lines around that expression, particularly when they believe it crosses into other illegal behavior or specific contexts, like immigration law.
It's a clear statement of their position on a long-debated issue.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? For you, listening. How do we as a society navigate this balance? How do we weigh that profound respect for symbols against the constitutional protection for even really unpopular expression, especially when those lines can seem so fuzzy and emotions run so high?
That's the core challenge, isn't it?
It really is. Something to definitely consider as this conversation continues.